Welcome, Wrestle Buddies, to the Wrestle Buddy podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and joined by always with my brother, Jimmy. How we doing, Jimmy Bob?
Doing good, dude. It's a better day today than it was earlier in the week, so we're here.
Yeah. And we're joined by our regular on the podcast now, Nick. How we doing, Nick?
I'm all right, mate. As Jimmy says, a bit better today than it was earlier on. But,
Yeah.
Crazy week, really, wasn't it?
Really was, mate. And, I think it's a good place for us to start. The sad passing of Scott Hall, raising him on. Do you know what? Sometimes in wrestling and sometimes in life, you don't know what you've got until it's gone when you actually look back. And, the one thing I've learned this week and kind of something that I'm going to keep with me now going forward is the fact of, appreciate things while they're here, appreciate people while they're here, and while you've still got them with you. So that's kind of my, something that I've learned from this. And, I know he'll be sadly missed. What's your thoughts on it all, Jim?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head with the you don't know what you got, because as I said, I don't think it really, it didn't hit me how much Scott Hall had an impact on my love of wrestling until, we get the news he's on life support. I'm just going back and remembering all the moments, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of them. And then it starts going in my head. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm sitting here today with you guys if I don't see Scott Hall on my TV. If he doesn't walk out on WCW, I don't think that I'm here. He is that important as far as my wrestling fan goes.
I think it's not just you as a fan, Jim. I think, if we look at the whole companies and the way it is today, Vince McMahon's probably got to take a step back at some point and think, without that happening, is he where he is today? Or does he just carry on going the way he is, or, what happens in that sense? Because, they always know that the minute they come off it onto WCW TV, that they obviously Vince McMahon to up his game massively, and the whole attitude there to come out and everything else, and then obviously we know where it went from there. But also, I think everyone always automatically goes NWO. Nick, they always say NWO. People don't forget that Razor Ramon was one of the ones that carried it through the sticky era of the early 90s before it become what it was in the Attitude Era. And that he was one of the ones that basically kept that company running, was he not?
Razor was a staple when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up with Razor Ramon as the Intercontinental Champion. Like that, his two ladder matches with Shawn at WrestleMania and SummerSlam is synonymous with my childhood. The part of the reason it kept me watching as a fan, because it was hard to watch back then. But Scott was one of those guys that really captured the moment. He knew how to he just knew how to tell a story in the ring. He knew how to tell a story in real life. His character, just very interesting man. And let's not forget one of the big changes that he made. If it wasn't Scott Hall, professional wrestling never got guaranteed.
No. Nick, we'll come back to you, mate. You're having a bit of problems with your audio there. If you with the mic's a little bit low,
right, mate,
maybe try and turn it up. No, you're fine. No, it's fine. Just try and push it up a little bit if you can. But yeah, Jim, just to go on what Nick's saying there, it is, when you actually look back, and this week I did look back because, you always do, and as I said, it's something I want to do more of for people that are still here and have that respect and whatnot for it. But, he did have a massive effect, not just only he's remembered for the NWO, but even before then, he had a massive effect on the wrestling industry as a whole, didn't he?
Yeah. As Rich said on his Twitter earlier, 93, 94 era, you can make the claim that Razor carried him a lot in that time. And the whole thing with NWO was they had that cool factor. I don't think they have that cool factor without Scott Hall, because he had cool factor with Razor, and it just transitioned over into WCW, and it just worked. And it's nice to see him get his flowers now. It just really sucks, and I'm guilty of it myself. And it just sucks that he didn't get those flowers more often while he was still here, because the impact he had on the business in and out of the ring is just it's not matched by many. I don't think that there's many that can make claims that Scott Hall can make, and it's just kind of weird that he's never, I guess, giving that credit. I mean, he is now, but before he wasn't just getting that credit as much as he should, and that's the crazy part to think about.
And one of the other things that I want to say is people always go on about the clique and all this type of things and how they decided they were going to look after each other and whatever else. But even before the clique was probably potentially formed at this point, let's not forget we put over a very young 1-2-3 kid. And he helped elevate him, and he helped elevate quite a few stars in that area. And I think he doesn't get enough kudos for that for me. You know what I mean? He needs to get a lot more for that.
I think one of the things I think I realized this a while ago, but a lot of people, The Rock was like a consummate professional. Like when there needed to be a job done, he knew it needed to be done. There was no problems with it. I think he got that from Scott Hall because there was never an issue with Scott Hall. Like he's got to put someone over. He understands it. He did it, and he did it fabulous. Like there was never he's not the kind of person you look back and be like, he had all these fantastic matches. He had some that stand out for sure, but there was not like an abundance of great matches. But you're not going to go back and find any bad matches either. Like he was just, I think that's more telling than the not having as many great matches. It's just there's no bad matches. His selling was top notch. And again, his ability to just put someone over and still be over himself, it's a lost trade. We don't get that much anymore. So
no. And you know what? One thing as well is, that people probably don't realize is if you look at the whole chain reaction of what happened with regards to the NWO and everything else, it's like without Scott Hall, obviously, Kevin Nash is in the same thing as well. And I think, again, we need to appreciate people while they're here rather than having these conversations after they're gone. But, let's look at it, right? Without Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, there's no NWO. That's obviously a given. There's no Attitude Era. The fact that the NWO come into there and infected WCW as it were in the storylines at the time, there'd be no Sting. Because Sting wouldn't have been upset enough to turn into the character, and he wouldn't have needed
to. Scott Hall wouldn't have given the idea.
Exactly. So, when you look at all these knock-on effects of everything that's happened along the way, it's like, there just wouldn't be any of this if that was the case. And it's so not looking odd, is it? You know what I mean? Hey, Brooklyn.
It's almost like Scott Hall was the first domino in the chain.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Scott Hall was also the first person to give Chris Jericho a rub before anyone wanted to give Chris Jericho any kind of. He says, "Hey, this kid's got something. We need to do something with him."
Yeah,
gave him the win, gave him the rub, and it's like, he said he missed their opportunity.
Same as he did with a young 1-2-3 kid as well.
Yes, exactly.
When he really didn't have to do that, So he'd be sadly missed, and as I said, I think he is very, very underrated. The one thing that we can say, he's had his documented is struggles that he had over the years, and at least the guy's at peace now, which is small comfort, but
yeah. I literally before we came on, I just got done watching the Razor documentary on the network. If you haven't seen it, you should be going to watch it, people. It's very good. It gives you in-depth details as to like what was going through his head and why he had the addiction problems and all of that. And it's definitely worth your watch if you haven't watched it, anybody.
Okay, well, we'll any final words on Scott Hall before we move on, Nick?
I think everything that can be said has been said. The man was a legend. He'll be missed greatly.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Sorry guys, I'm having a bit of a problem at the moment with my camera. Okay, so we'll move on to some other news as well. I think the first place to start off, I think we should switch over to some AEW stuff. And obviously we've got Thunder Rosa finally won the title. Go on, Nick. What's your thoughts on it?
Right, it's a terrible idea. I'm on record in saying I don't think Britt's reign has been great. And I don't think it's been great, not because of her work, She's fantastic. She's an absolute superstar. She's the only superstar in the whole division. What is Thunder Rosa going to do with that belt now? What are they going to do?
That was exactly what me and Jim said. You know, it's okay, belt on. Now what? You know, there's no other plan, is there?
But are they just going to have a wrestle Ty Conti every week, or Chris Statlander in whatever new gimmick she's coming up with now? She's wiping all the paint off and taking the contact out. It's just she's going to have generic matches week after week after week. There's going to be no particular hitch. She's got no character. She can't cut a promo. It's got nothing to do with the language barrier. She speaks very good English. It's just her promo is I'm Thunder Rosa.
I think the whole thing is just the fact that all it'll be is just Brit chasing it. Jim, what's your thoughts?
I want to say the only bright spot of it, because I think it's a terrible idea. It's my if anybody, all the AEW diehards that are like, "Yay, Thunder, you had your moment. That's cool. I'm not knocking it at all." But if I'm looking at this and I'm like, the only real reason I would have done it was because Britt has no more challengers, and you want to get some of them heel women a chance at that title, and you can't do it with Britt. It doesn't really work that well. So you put it on a babyface like Thunder Rosa, who is probably the biggest babyface they have. The only problem is, if I was to ask you guys who is a heel outside of Serena Deeb that you want to see chasing Thunder Rosa, who are you going to say? The Bunny? Come on. It doesn't work. And
Layla Hirsch, maybe, but she's not ready yet.
No, not ready. And she already lost the Thunder to get the title shot to begin with. So there's no real reason to do it. Other than we're in San Antonio, it's going to be a fantastic pop. Let's do it. And it was just bad. It was a bad idea all around, in my opinion. That's not a knock on Thunder Rosa at all, other than she can't cut a promo. But she's very good in the ring, so I don't want to like make this seem like I'm shitting all over her. But it's just I don't see all the positives out of taking the belts off Britt. That just doesn't make sense.
No,
I totally away from MJF.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I don't see the point in it. But I think also what it does is it exposes AEW's women's division a bit, and it shows that they haven't got a lot of thingy there. You know, a lot of talent in there at the moment. And do you know what? No, sorry, I'm not going to say they haven't got talent, because they have got talent in that division, and
they haven't built them up.
They haven't built them up yet. The creative has been really poor in the women's division. That's probably where I'm going to go with that one, because I think it's just disrespectful to say they haven't got talent, because they have. It's not being built in the correct way and in the right way.
Built no female stars.
The biggest problem you've got is I look around, and apart from them going back for Britt again, which they will do for a while, they'll go back to that. Whether they actually put the belt back on Britt or not, another matter. But there's no other credible threat around, apart from maybe a Cargill. But we all know Cargill's green as can be, and we know what they're trying to do with it.
And they've also already ruined the Cargill experiment, because who is she going to take on next?
Yeah.
They've already ran through her, but so now like they've done nothing to build this division up. And outside of Britt being like, "Hey, I had that belt, now I want that one," what can they do with Jade Cargill? Mm-hmm. And does anybody want to see a Jade Cargill versus Britt Baker match? No. Sorry, I like them both. I love Britt, but don't want to watch that match. It's
and you know what, mate? I'll tell you why I don't want to see that match. The reason I don't want to see that match, Nick, is because I think that it'll be a dangerous match, because the two of them are not of a capable level for either of them to lead a match.
Agreed.
No. And they will be given the reins to do whatever for 15 minutes. Be like, yeah, just go do whatever for 15, instead of saying, hey, 5 minutes, make some magic out of that.
Yeah.
No, they won't do that.
Do you know what? I'm going to say something here, and I might upset some people by saying it, but I don't really care. And Nick, I'll get your thoughts on this, is I think Jade Cargill needs to be with WWE at this stage of her career. I feel like they would bring her on so much quicker and better, and, you know, kind of give her a lot more, where she'd become that massive star that she looks like she could be.
JBL used to say, if you build a superstar from the ground up, it looks like Randy Orton. If you build a female wrestler from the ground up in WWE, it looks like Jade Cargill. That woman is meant to work with Vince McMahon. She'll go so far in AEW, and then it'll just be...
Come on, Alex. We're trying to be nice about it here, mate.
Oh,
You can't kick him out of the chat. She already is the female version of that guy, just in AEW. That's why she's going around saying, "Who's next?" It's silly. She will be in WWE before it's all said and done, though, because they are not going to be able to.
The whole thing is, though, this is my worry is in my eyes, she should be in WWE now. And then, she's done it the wrong way around in my eyes. It's like, yeah, she wants to go to AEW eventually, whatever else. But in terms of brand new, really green athletes that need to try and get into the ring and get the experience and everything else, for me, you need to be at WWE. And then after that, you leave. And, if you you either make a great career there or you leave or whatever. But I don't believe AEW at the moment is set up to deal with these guys and make them into what they need to be.
Well, AEW traditionally is either a lot of indie darlings that have been given contracts, so they've been working the indies for years, getting experience that way, or the WWE X's that have been released.
But again, Nick, when you see the indie darlings, right? Yeah, you can be an indie darling, but at the same time, mate, do they know camera angles? Do they know how to turn when they're making a move so they can see? No. And it's all this stuff that's going to stop her from becoming the top star that she could be.
My brother's always said, you tell the guys that have worked in WWE that work on a different card because of the way they stand in the ring, when they look at the camera cuts, they know when you're going to break, because you're taught not just how to wrestle, you're taught how to be on a television show.
To build off that, though, Britt didn't come from WWE, and she learned all that.
So there's from Adam Cole.
So what I'm saying is they have the resources in AEW to teach these people that. They just need to use them more often. I feel like a lot of I don't want to like.
But what I'm saying is, though, Jim, if you've got a whole performance center and you've got dedicated coaches that are teaching this stuff week in, week out, and making sure that you're ready and drilling a home to you and stuff, rather than having a conversation backstage with Bryan Danielson or Chris Jericho or somebody, you need to bring some more like William Regal would have been a prime example. Say, yeah, we'll give you a contract as a talent, but also you are going to be one of our coaches, and we want you to develop these people, and we'll give you another contract for that.
For sure. And one of them said they were going to do, I think it was Christian. He said he was going to go down there and he's going to get in the ring and he's going to invite people down. He wants to help them and allow them to grow. And I don't necessarily think it needs to be something like in the Performance Center, because they have shows like Elevation and Dark where they could,
you know what?
Hold on. But this is a place where they could help them refine those things you're talking about. But instead, they're not doing that. They're just putting those people out there for squash matches just to say, hey, we're giving everybody a chance, instead of trying to help them develop new skills. Yeah. And that's the problem with Dark and Elevation. It's not that they have it. It's just that they're not utilizing it the way.
Do you know the problem? I'll tell you the problem with Dark Elevation, mate. I can't watch it, right? Because I sit there and it's like watching a horror movie to me. To be fair, I get more scared watching Dark Elevation than I do watching a horror movie.
Yeah,
because the amount I've watched it, I've gone, oh no, ooh, do you know what I mean? It's like, and not in a way where I'm enjoying the wrestling, when I'm like, Jesus Christ, he just fell on his head.
That person's gonna die. And that goes back to what I was saying, is like they're not utilizing those programs the way they should be. They're just saying, go do what you do, and that's not how you teach. That's not how these girls learn. And with Jade, I think she had the opportunity to go to WWE. I don't know which side said no, but she did go to WWE first. And something didn't happen, and that's why she's in AEW. Yeah. And to their credit, I think they've done a very good job of presenting her.
Yeah,
I think the only issue is that she's not learning things that she should have already learned.
No,
I think Bryan Danielson said that he's working with her. I can't tell, because if I'm going to learn from someone, Bryan Danielson's a perfect person to learn from. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything from Bryan Danielson in Jade Cargill yet. So
exactly. Yeah, 2-2. Taz was dead funny the other week, because I can't remember who it was, but I caught a bit of it, and there was a match, and like, Taz is going, ooh, just nearly hit himself. Oh, is it over now? And he's laughing his head off while it's on. It wasn't even like he's commentating properly. It was awesome. But anyway, let's get on to some more AEW news. So, obviously, the MJF Wardlow feud is heating up a little bit. MJF cost Wardlow the TNT champion this week. Right move, Jim?
I'll tell you why it wasn't the right move. And I touched on this in the recap. Wardlow now has, in my opinion, he looks like the kind of guy who has a glass jaw because MJF did nothing to him that should have knocked him out for that amount of time period. Like, that's insane that they did that much to Wardlow and said, "Yep, now you've lost."
Yeah,
that's.
But we've protected you.
Not really, in my opinion. They have protected. If MJF would have went out there and like pummeled him with that diamond ring, yes. If he would have smacked him in the head through the ropes and then he gets rolled up at 1, 2, 3, yes, he's protected. But he got got thrown into the steps, rolled in the ring. And then the ref turned around and Scorpio Sky pinned him. And it was like that. No, the people get thrown in the steps all the time. And Wardlow is supposed to be this big badass that is supposed to rain a hell. Like, he destroyed CM Punk. So you tell me all CM Punk had to do is say, meet the steel steps and he wins? That's dumb. That was a very bad way to end that match.
No, totally agree. And I'll be totally honest, I was a bit... Wardlow compared himself with Batista and MJF to Hunter. Oh, dear God. Oh, no.
I don't think the Batista one's that off. I think that's a fair comparison.
Is it?
I think it is. I see it. That's me, though. I won't argue anybody that thinks otherwise, but I see it.
I mean, one thing I will say is I'm liking this feud already and stuff, but I was a bit disappointed that the TNT title wasn't included in this. Reason being is because, to be honest, I'm I feel like Scorpio is the same boat as Rosa. It's like, well, what are you going to do with him? What's it going to be? I mean, I suppose you can get away with it with the TNT title a bit because it is meant to be just on television every week, defend all comers. So I suppose you get away with it with that. But me personally, I just don't see why he's the champion, I'll be honest.
No.
Time served more than anything else, I think.
Eddie, where the F is Eddie Kingston? Eddie Kingston is actually injured, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, Joe Janela injured him apparently.
Yeah.
Really? I thought that was before.
I'm not sure. It's just
I think that was before when Eddie got hurt. I don't know where he's at now. Maybe someone should call Zane and see what Zane's doing.
Fucking Zane, I'll know exactly where he is. He always does, the little jerkhead. Any other news from AEW that you want to discuss while we're talking about them?
Just another to touch on the TNT title thing. Putting it in this feud would have been brilliant, just for the simple fact that over the past few reigns with that title, with Sammy's first run, Cody's small run, and Sammy's next run, and now Scorpio, the belt has lost whatever prestige it had, that little bit it had, because it's been relegated to Rampage. If you put that belt in a high-end feud like MJF and Wardlow, all of a sudden it's like, hey, this belt actually means something again. And they had the opportunity to do that, and they didn't. And that, I don't want to say like Scorpio Sky shouldn't have the belt because he's fantastic in the ring. He's put in some time. It's not his fault they don't put him on Dynamite. He's just doing what he can, and they rewarded him for it, and that's cool. But it don't really make sense to just he's been beating everybody on Dark, and now we're gonna give him the title, and then he's gonna beat Wardlow. Like, come on, now that it's weird.
That's it, isn't it? Let me just ask you a question, by the way, and it's something that's been last part on the AEW. What's your thoughts on AEW naming their mid-card titles after networks or after TV channels?
I'm pretty fine with it. I mean, it's a bit twee, I suppose, but I get why they did it. They did it to appease the overlords that is the network. If you got to keep your network happy at the end of the day, and if keeping two shiny belts with stupid logos, one of them which says the Hose Championship, which is really not good. But if that's what it takes to keep the network happy and to keep AEW on TV, then I'm fine with it.
I'll say why I think it's a great idea. They obviously have a cross promotion with NBA because NBA has their shows on TNT. So you throw your TNT or TBS champion out there, like a Jade Cargill, who I said should be at all these things. With that belt, the fans see this, like, yo, who's this? What's that she has? Oh, she's a wrestler? That woman? I need to watch this. Where can I watch? Oh, TBS, obviously. It's kind of like I'm not sure the term for it, but like subliminal messaging, I guess, a little bit.
Subliminal advertising.
Yeah. So wrestler TNT. Oh, maybe I should turn on TNT to see what this woman's all about because she looks like a megastar. And I think that's why they do it. The only problem is you can't do it with like it doesn't work with someone like Sammy Guevara. And
No.
not knock on Sammy. It doesn't work with Sammy. It's only going to work with certain people. But yeah, it was a weird decision at first for me, but I mean I get it now. It makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. I don't know. For me, I'm not really sure that I like it. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know why it's because what happens if he comes to the end of the TV deal and they change the network to a different one from Turner?
You retire it, and then you got a brand new belt, and then you get to sell it and make more money. That's the WWE model right there, man.
Okay, well let's you talking about WWE. Cody segue. So apparently, he's getting like fear, Cody, isn't he? we're getting a few talks about it. He's coming, he's not coming, he's there, he's not there. Dave Meltzer looks like he's having a friggin' meltdown with it. What's your thoughts, Jim?
Man, on Raw when Edge came out, I thought I was like I perked up and I was like, oh, this is Cody, because they had the beam of light and the music that I wasn't familiar with. So I was like, this is Cody, it's happening, and it didn't happen. And this is just more of that, what I was talking about last week. I love this Cody stuff so much because an instance like that shouldn't have got me. Because I'm like, I literally don't know what Cody's doing.
And the other thing as well is I'm keep finding myself trying to decode people's words because of it. Do you know what I mean? Which is something I never do, but it's like I'm sitting there going, oh, has he just said dashing? Oh, has he just said this? Has he just said nightmare?
Yeah.
I'm trying to there's probably not even a code there, mate, but I'm trying to dissect everything that's going on.
And that's what I think makes wrestling, when wrestling's at its best, is when there's things like this to where we're like, okay, well, what's happening? What you're at the edge of your seat trying to figure out what's going to happen. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, damn. So again, bravo to Cody. I've been saying it for weeks. Bravo, Cody. You got me. I love it.
Cody Rhodes is chaos. Cody Rhodes is chaos personified in wrestling. That's a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Like, how many years has it been since the internet wrestling community did not know in some way where a wrestler's going to go? No one knows when he's going to show up. No one knows if they're going to save him for like a surprise Hardy Boys-esque debut at WrestleMania when Seth comes out and complains he doesn't have an opponent. Or whether they'll do... I mean, how many... What is it? 20, 25, 20 days till WrestleMania?
Well, not even that now. It's 14 days tomorrow.
2 weeks.
14 days tomorrow. 2 weeks. All right, there we go. If they don't do something in the next 2 weeks, they're either saving him for the Raw after Mania, or this is a Eric Bischoff, Brian Pillman work from him and Tony Khan.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Cody has to be at... No, it's not happening. Stop that. Stop that.
Mate. Bring it on.
Cody,
Bring it on.
Cody has to be at WrestleMania at this point, and he has to be facing Seth Rollins. And again, I'm a broken record at this point. If not, what are you doing with Seth Rollins? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
He has to have something, and the only thing left at this point is Cody Rhodes.
Oh, mate, you know what? Hey, Jan, I'm gonna tell you now, Jim. Picture the scene, right?
It's not Stardust. You're starting to sound like Zayn, bro.
He's standing in the middle of the ring, right?
No.
Seth Rollins in there, and he's talking about everything, and then Seth Rollins goes, we'll have to find out whether the stars align, and then.
No.
How come?
No.
And do you know what? Just once, to make everybody's. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him to have his run of Stardust. That's not what I'm saying. But to bring him out of Stardust just once, the first time he comes out of Stardust, and everybody's heads just gonna fall off. There's gonna be absolute murder, and then he changes back to Cody just as a
the next Monday night.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens. I was Stardust.
If he comes out at WrestleMania to Stardust, mate, remember everything changes at the Raw after Mania. It's all reset.
I could see Vince doing that just so that he could laugh at people. Yeah. Just like
I would sit there.
Think I would do it. I did it.
Or do you know what would be great is if he put all the Stardust makeup on, and come out, and then when he got out, he had like a basin there where he washed his face off and went, not that, and then it was like, do you know what I mean? Something like that. Just something just to wind people up, just to get that initial, kind of.
No.
Just to do.
I want the Highlander Cody Rhodes to come out. That's what I want.
No,
Throne Breaker
Stardust.
Cody Rhodes.
Stardust. We want Stardust.
No.
Just for that initial one, it might just finish off Meltzer.
He just quit.
It's just like, close the website. I've had enough.
That's it. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. If I feel so, it'll be the biggest betrayal in wrestling. That would never be a story on WWE TV. When Cody comes out to Stardust, Dave Meltzer will just his head will just spin, just literally spin.
Explode.
I'd have that, definitely. Other news, we've got the NXT Stand and Deliver is at the American Airlines Center. Jim, going to you, mate, because obviously you're going to be there. Are we going to this event or are we not?
I don't think I'm going to go. It's a family trip, and I don't think the kids can sit there through that much wrestling. If WrestleMania wasn't 2 nights, I wouldn't be taking the kids. So to go to an NXT show and a WrestleMania would just defeat the whole purpose.
It's a long time for them in the one day, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm not that caught up with NXT these days anyway. I'll tune in for a few matches maybe, but...
Well, what's your thoughts on D'Angelo versus Ciampa at Stand and Deliver? I'm a bit sad about this because it's like that could be his final match in NXT by the looks of it.
That's official? I've not heard anything about that one.
That was on 2.0 this week.
Really? That shows you how out of the loop I am with NXT. Ciampa and...
Yeah.
That's a very off...
Guy who looks like a meat delivery salesman.
I like Tony D'Angelo. I just don't understand why this match would be happening because Ciampa was just involved with Breaker and Ziggler. How did D'Angelo get involved?
Just came out.
He come out and says, "You're next." Kinds of Goldberg style.
And this is the show that everyone says is the A show for WWE.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But I don't know. I feel a bit sad for Ciampa if that's going to be the way that he goes out. And it's not against D'Angelo. It's just to feel like they haven't built anything towards it. And it's, as you said, he's been involved in this. He could make it a triple threat match with him. Put him in for the last hurrah. Do you know what I mean? But it just makes me feel sad.
Throw a bag at Johnny Gargano and make that his final NXT.
Yeah.
A one-off thing, just something that makes. But also, in fairness, this is what Ciampa wanted to do. Like, this is the kind of stuff he wanted to do. He wants to help these young guys. He wants to put them over, and he wants to leave NXT better than how he found it. And I credit him for it.
I mean, one thing I will say just on D'Angelo is, because I don't want to be disrespectful to him, because I do think he's a good athlete and his character's coming along nicely. I hope when they bring him to the main roster eventually, they do about 8 weeks worth of vignettes with him, because that character is just made for the vignette section, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I hope they do that. But apart from that, Stand and Deliver looks okay. Doesn't look fantastic. Raquel Gonzalez, do we see her make the jump to the main roster? Do you think Raw after Mania?
Yeah, I'd say so. She's ready. Yeah.
I can see Zelina Vega bringing her up.
One thing I did want to ask as well is, with the WrestleMania being over 2 nights and quite a duration for each one, we're going to see any NXT superstars on it? No? Do you not think?
Maybe Braun Breaker. Maybe.
I'm just trying to think of where they'd put him, because
Ziggler. With the belt
they're going to want that for the NXT show.
But he could come out night 2 or something, couldn't he?
Nah.
Like, you come out with an open challenge, and then Walter could answer it and just destroy him.
They could do, yeah.
That would be tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a good for me. I always think, like, especially like WrestleMania. I mean, obviously pop a few of them into the thing. Here's Simon Monk. How we doing, mate?
All right, Si.
How we doing, Si?
Exactly, Ciampa Gargano. Exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly what I said, mate. And it could happen because, if you give him Gargano a little thing for one night's work against his old friend that he doesn't need to worry about with ring rust or anything,
exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that, when you've got a big show like this, same with the Royal Rumble, I don't get why they don't put more NXT stars into the Royal Rumble, because if you're trying to get them fans over to watch your product, which at the moment you're on network television, so you really do want them on there, don't you? I get these little crossovers they're doing on Raw, but when you've got the eyes of a lot of casual fans and everything else there, why would you not? Why would you not pop them onto WrestleMania, just one match of the best you've got?
I think if they didn't have the Stand and Deliver show that same weekend, you could absolutely see a Braun Breaker title defense at WrestleMania. I would be 100% guaranteeing that would happen. But since they have their own show, I think it's just going to be a matter of hyping up that show like they've been doing on Raw, because I think they've been doing a fantastic job of promoting NXT on Raw with the crossovers and the video packages that explain what that rivalry is doing, so that even if you haven't been keeping up and you're like, I'm going to tune in tomorrow, you're already caught up, because Raw is doing a great job like filling you in with the main storylines that are happening over there. So with that said, I don't think it's necessary at WrestleMania when they have their own show. But for the Royal Rumble, I agree. There was no reason not to have some of those guys in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's even like Survivor Series is another one I've like, you know, and get them involved with the brands war type of thing, you know.
They did the other year, didn't they? And it was actually really fun.
It was on Smackdown, wasn't it? Yeah.
The best Survivor Series they've ever had.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But totally I will also say last year they didn't do it because the whole 2.0 thing was still fresh. And it would have looked kind of silly to have all these new guys going in there trying to compete with Seth Rollins and all these other big guys. It would have looked silly.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made any sense.
I can see them going back to NXT doing the Survivor Series this year. I think it happens.
Yeah, I hope to do. Well, apart from that, guys, I think we've covered everything that's newsworthy this week. Is there any other business before we finish off?
The AEW computer game is due out next year. They've extended its time for another year of development.
Yeah, I've seen something like that about Kenny Omega said he's quite not happy with it and stuff. But I've seen the gameplay; it looks half decent. But at the same time, don't rush these things, because I suppose with them being the debut game is, you know what consumers are like, and this is not just from a wrestling perspective, but just from a gamer perspective as a whole. Is if they get a bad reputation for the first game, they could lose altogether. You know what I mean? So.
And Kenny Omega referenced that, and that's why he's putting so much time and effort into making sure this game is going to come out the best way it can, because he knows that this game can be a big, it can be a make or break type thing for them in that department. And since they've invested so much money into it already, it's like, go all in. Don't put out something shitty and lose out on all your money and then get a bad reputation in the process.
Yeah. You need to take as much time as they need to take so they can put out a quality product that doesn't need 20 patches on day one.
No, and I'm not mad at that either, mate. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at that at all. You know, hopefully they put out the best game possible, and they do really well out of it, because, as we always say, guys, when one company does well, somebody else does well. Exactly. Us fans do well because we get benefit out of everything that comes along with it. So, you know, let's keep it going. Anything else we want to do before we finish off? Anything we want to say, or anything you want to get over?
Any comments on the fact that we now have 2 AEW guys who are not getting their contracts renewed, and the process in which it happened was that Tony Khan just stopped talking to them?
Yes, it's a good point, actually.
Wow.
He's basically just like on Tinder, and he's talking to someone and then just ghosts them. He's like, I don't want to deal with you anymore.
One thing I do want to say, Chavo Guerrero, Hall of Fame confirmed.
But yeah, even Chavo, I forgot about the Chavo situation. Same thing. They just stopped talking to him, and it's like, I don't have a job. What do you mean? Like, this is
why? Where's my job gone?
I think
what happened? You told me
I think
when I got back.
I think that's some shitty business practices that should be
exposed.
Absolutely, it should be talked about, not swept under the rug. Because is it as bad as just releasing people in the middle of the contract? Probably not, but it's not good at all. Yeah,
it's not better than it.
If I'm talking to my people that I work for, and then all of a sudden they stop talking to me, and I show up one day and the doors are locked and I don't have a job anymore, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think that should be more in the light for people to be talking about, because it's not cool.
No, it's not. And the thing is like, you know, if that was Vince McMahon, the shit he would get over that. Do you know what I mean?
The
So
world
you
would be in uproar if it was WWE being reported doing
it'd be horrific. It'd be horrific to listen to because it'd be, oh my God, you done this. Go to AEW. They don't know what to do with you.
And when you have all the talent sitting there talking about how easy it is to get access to Tony Khan and how he's able to talk to literally everyone, there's really no excuse for him to not talk to people whose contracts are coming up. He's clearly aware of it, and he's just like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Confrontation.
For all we know, that's pretty much what could have happened with Cody. You never know.
Mm-hmm. I think with Cody as well. I think Tony Khan, and it's sad to say, but I think Khan needed him at first, and now he doesn't. Or the Young Bucks have got more of Tony Khan's ear by the looks of it. Especially when you look at the book and that's going on there.
Well, Cody always liked to book a very old school, chaos-filled, overbooked mess of a match. Whereas the Young Bucks love their flippy-dippy-doo-dahs and high-speed indie spots. Cody's more of a grounded wrestler, and I don't mean that because he doesn't do dives all the time, etc. I mean, his philosophy in wrestling is more grounded than the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks have what they like. I think they refer to it as an evolutionary look on the business. I know you don't agree with that at all, Jim. But Cody, I've always appreciated the fact that he does nod back to the past. And he does it in a respectful way, but keeping it in a modern twist. And realistically, I think whichever company he ends up in, whether he goes back to AEW, whether he ends up with Ring of Honor, or whether he does more than likely end up at WrestleMania in 2 weeks, he'll be fantastic wherever he goes. Vince could do with someone the caliber of Cody, someone he can bring in that doesn't need to be taught how to cut a promo, that doesn't need to be told where the cameras are. This guy can be brought in on the roster the same way AJ Styles was and instantly pushed into a top position. And I think Vince has needed that for a while.
I think the thing with Cody Rhodes is he has, like you said, the touch of old school that I feel like more wrestlers need these days, because we're losing the ideology of wrestling in general because of this new era of wrestlers that thinks this is the way it should be done as opposed to how this way. And I'm in no way saying that there's one way to do wrestling, but there are tropes that you should follow, and Cody did. And he did it while also helping the evolution of the business by, catering to the Young Bucks style as well, but giving it that splash of old school. And I think that just didn't fit in with what Tony Khan's vision has become.
Yeah, because his things now was like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Tony Khan to Circus du Soleil confirmed soon. It seems like what he wants to bloody do, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
I won't be surprised.
Not liking it, mate. Not liking Keith Lee in AEW at all. I think it's exposed him for what he is, and that's just what he'll always be, is that's a mid-carder.
I like House of Black. I think they're different. I always like stuff that's different. And
I like House of Black. House of Black remind me a lot of Raven's Flock back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing. I just wish they would do more with them and not. I don't like the fact that Aleister Black has taken, or Malachi Black. I am so sorry, people. I don't like the fact that he's already taken like 3 pin losses. Like, that's crazy. Like, he should have been built up as a legit badass that was coming for Hangman Page's title, and instead he's lost to several people, and now he's just another person on the roster with a very cool gimmick. So
one thing I'll say is it's Keith Lee that annoys me. I just don't, the way everybody raves about him, I just don't see it. Just don't see it.
Yeah, the thing is, everybody has that one wrestler that they just don't get. My brother does not get Finn Balor in any way, shape, or form. He calls
but to be honest, it's not just one wrestler with me. It's I don't get the Young Bucks either, mate. But
I don't get Luchasaurus, right?
It's like Cesaro as well. Cesaro's another one everyone goes on. I like Cesaro as a wrestler. He's a solid wrestler. He's really good in ring.
He's
That's
great
fine. He's no champion.
While we're on Cesaro, he trademarked CSRO today for himself. So that's something that came out today.
Good. But as I said, again, no disrespect to Cesaro. He's really good and stuff like that, but he is no champion. He's not the person that's going to lead your company.
Jim
in a way, it's the same as what Big E was. Big E was the same. He was never going to lead no company.
I disagree with that one. But I know we're on different wavelengths on that one. But Jim Cornette hit the Cesaro thing right on the head when they brought him in with Chris Hero because they were a fantastic tag team in Ring of Honor. And then Jim Cornette was like, hey, they're going to split him up. And then Cesaro is going to end up just being a regular guy, and Chris Hero is going to end up nothing. And that's exactly what happened. Whereas if they would have left those guys together and actually let them be the tag team, Cesaro might have had a better career in WWE. And
the Kings of Wrestling were fantastic together.
That's it. I mean, as I say, I'm not. Cesaro's another one. Keith Lee's one for me. You know, Adam Cole's the opposite side of it, where I think like he can be a top star and hold it, you know, because he can do everything. Yeah, and that's the difference. He should have won the
AEW title last week.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But when everyone's turning around to me saying like, "Oh, Keith Lee will go there. He should be in the main event." No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? If you've got Adam Cole there who's come in and built himself up, and Adam Cole should be champion, whether that's now or in a little while or whatever. But you know, you've got MJF, you've got CM Punk, you've got Bryan Danielson, you've got Adam Cole, all these people. Keith Lee's not in the same conversation with them people.
Why I like Keith Lee in the main event talk, I think he needs to be built up there because people have kind of forgot there. I think he needs to be built up there. I don't think he needs to be a champion. No. I think he should be in the main event scene though because of his size and what he can deliver and offer, as opposed to just seeing again super kick parties and all that same stuff we see with everyone else.
Well, do you know what? I'm probably going to upset you now, Jim. Yeah. But do you know what he is to me, Keith Lee?
What's that?
A modern day junkyard dog.
I mean, that's not a bad nod. And again,
it's not.
I'm not sitting here saying that I think Keith Lee is a guy that's you put the title on and he carries your company and all that. I think he can be a tool in your main event scene though, if he's taking on the likes of someone like, again, an Adam Cole. So you're not seeing the same style matchups with Adam Cole all the time. Whereas you put the big guy in there and you're getting something different, and he's going to deliver.
Definitely, he's like a boss man, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's not. The way people go on raving about him, he's not at this top level. He's an Akeem the American's African dream. He's, you know what I mean?
He's the second coming of The Rock because he can. Yeah, I get it, but no, that's not what he is.
No,
Keith Lee is an attraction because he's a super heavyweight who moves like he's not a super heavyweight. That's his thing. He's a very well-spoken man. Technically, he might be too well-spoken for his own good. But I don't think he's ever going to be World Heavyweight Champion.
No, he's not. He's not.
Well,
no chance.
He might win the TNT title.
If he might do, and if he does, then Tony Khan's just doing what he does, shit the bed and be stupid by giving the belt to him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he won the title because I know Tony Khan is a big fan of him. I just don't think I don't think he will, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
He is a mid-carder. That's what he is. He's a solid mid-carder.
Upper mid.
I wouldn't even say he's upper mid-carder, mate. You know, he might have a little venture up there, same as Bossman did, same as Akeem did, One Man Gang, all them people. You know, he can float up and have his little shot up that way, but he's not going to stay up there. I mean, when you say big man,
Ken Shamrock is a perfect because Ken Shamrock was a mid-carder, but you could throw him in the main event at any time, and he was going to be looked at as a possible threat. And I think that's what Keith Lee has to offer. That's
the thing that does my head in as well is, and I've seen this on, I can't remember where it was the other day, but it really frustrated me was the fact of people turning around saying, you know, and by the way, I like Keith Lee, I really do, and this is no disrespect to him as a performer whatsoever, but people turn around going, he's one of the best big man. Go and say that to Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow. Do you know, people like that, it's like, come on, do you know what I mean? It's not like we haven't seen this before, and it's, again, no disrespect to the man. He's, you know, he comes across so nice, and
you're hearing this from the new fans who have no idea who those people are. They've only seen clips of them, and they think they know what wrestling is because they've been watching for 5 years, and their idea is what we do. Yes. And again, I'm not knocking those fans. Enjoy what you enjoy, but don't say dumb shit like that where Keith Lee is like this first time ever kind of big guy that does these things, because he's not.
Yeah. That's it. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. Guys, thanks for watching. Anybody who's watching after we've gone live as well, thank you for watching. As always, we have noticed the views do go up, so thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you join us this weekend. We've got a big weekend coming up. We've got the semi-finals for you Americans, semi for the English. The semi-finals of the Quiz Buddies quiz, which is just going to be Wrestle Buddy people. So it's going to be all of us competing for a top prize of $100 or about £80. for you English guys, which will culminate on WrestleMania weekend, I believe, or maybe the weekend before WrestleMania. I don't know, but we will be live tomorrow and Sunday with
the Friday before WrestleMania.
Yeah,
what Jimmy said. At least one of us is on the schedule. But yeah, we're going to be live tomorrow and Sunday with 2 special editions of the quiz. So make sure you come and join us. The quizzes are always fun. It's a lot more laid back, and we just chill out and have a good laugh and answer some questions and knowledge. And you can play along with us, guys. It's always good to see you coming along and having a little go. So make sure that you join us tomorrow for that. In the meantime, make sure you go over there. I'm going to give a plug to my channel this week, well, my other channel, apart from WrestleBuddy, where me and Dale just go over there and look back on the old golden stuff and review stuff. As you can see by the thumbnails when you check out the channel, it's not a serious channel. We have a laugh and a joke, and we do what we want to do on there. So
if you enjoy fun, watch his show. It's a fun show.
we just say what we want and do what we want, because we're not bothered about breaching community guidelines. We don't care about anything like that. We say what we want and do what we want.
It's wrestling fans being wrestling fans, and
exactly. Yeah, as I say, yeah, you know. Check the thumbnails out, you'll see what I mean. And obviously the Jip King has got his channel going now, so make sure we go over and support Jim's content. You know, we all love a bit of Drip King, so make sure that we go and check that out. I love it, and I'll always will go and watch it, so make sure you do as well. And if you're not, and obviously Nick will be back with us as always next week. He's now part of the weekly crew, which is good, because it gives me something else. When Jimmy leaves me now and again, I'm like a lost puppy. I kind of feel like I'm kind of missing my leg or my crutch. Do you know what I mean? So,
I'll be your renter bro when Jimmy's not around, Andy.
Yeah. So yeah, you know,
we got a new day situation. When one's out, the next one just steps right up in it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll you know what I mean. We've got a freeway going on now, which is always good as well. Yeah. Go and listen to the Lonely Islanders, it's fine. But guys, until next week, take care, and we will see you again. Thanks for watching. Go to WrestleBuddy.com, check out all the news, the latest news scoops and breaking news. Make sure you check out each week on the YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitch, we're everywhere, anywhere you want to watch us, go and find us. Jimmy's weekly recaps, I live by them. You know, I work all week, and sometimes I can't always sit there and watch every bit of content. I mean, bloody hell, how much content is there per week now? If you've got enough time to sit there and watch every single bit of wrestling, there's something wrong with you. So,
you watch Raw, so I don't have to.
Exactly.
And you can jump in the chat and talk to me, because they're live now. I like the back and forth with people. So
dude, it's like 4 in the morning when you go live.
Now, I'm just saying, the people watching, the people checking this out, jump in the chat on the recaps. Jump in with me.
Hello, with all our United States fanboy, let's make sure we get in them chats. And also the guys who are watching after the fact as well, leave some comments. You know, I know for a fact Jimmy goes and reads them all, and he'll give you some feedback on the next shows and whatnot. So let's make sure we're leaving comments across the board. We're getting in there live. If we're not there live, just because you're not watching it live doesn't mean you can't leave a comment. You can do, and we do see them. So make sure that you do leave some comments for us. And
I appreciate them all.
Yeah. But as I said, you know, over WrestleBuddy, across the whole platforms and everything else, we've got you covered on everything. So, you know, anything that you want. And also, one thing that I do want to say just before we go, and I'm look at Lengo in this, but one thing I do want to say as well is, if there's something you want to see us do, tell us. Do you want to see us review something, or you just want to turn around and watch us do something? You know, message us, let us know, interact with us on Twitter.
Live stream.
Yeah. Do you want us to do it a 24-hour live stream? Do you just want us to do, you know, some reviews from old stuff? You know, anything that you kind of want us to do, get it out there, guys. Let's get, you know, at the end of the day, but this is your channel as much as it is ours. So make sure that you're contributing and telling us what you want. But until next time, take care, guys, and we will see you same time, same place next week, 9 a.m. Friday, every week going forward. So we will see you then.